Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel. Today we're just doing a quick Q&A. The last Q&A I did in December-ish, January-ish, and a lot of people said in the comments they want to see more Q&As, so I'm going to try to do them a few more times a year. If you want to be part of Q&As, you can follow me on Instagram, that's where I ask questions. Look at the community tab here on YouTube and also become a patron. We are going to be doing the Patreon questions first, that way they get priority, so if you want to be part of these future Q&As and make sure your question actually gets answered, you can join us over on Patreon. So this is a question that I'm probably going to have to dive into more in the future. Jessica asks, is it better to purchase a sustainable product online or a less sustainable product in person? I talked about this a little bit in this video right here about who gives a crap toilet paper. At the end of the day, toilet paper still has to get shipped to you. Even if you're going to your local Walmart, Target, whatever, the sustainable product or the less sustainable product but locally to you, it still has to be shipped to that store. Now, if you're going to a local zero waste store where everything is handmade, everything is made there in your city, that is probably the most sustainable option for you. It definitely just depends. You have to think of the big picture with everything and also the product. Is it just significantly, is it just a little bit less sustainable to buy it at Walmart, or is it considerably better to order something online for the planet? In that case, the shipping will probably still, even with the shipping, it'll still probably outweigh the downsides to the other product, but I'm going to be talking more about that in the future. And yeah, if you want more information, I did talk about it more in depth in that toilet paper video. Okay, Kelly asks, what do Dan and I want to do one day? That's a good question. Probably not a good question for us. We don't know. So we're both in the Air Force and 10 and 11 months left, which is very, very exciting. We're going to be starting our transition out of the military, doing a 6-month internship with a local nonprofit, a conservation group. You want to say hello? Come here. Come closer. And ultimately, our long-term goals change all the time, so I don't want to share anything too in-depth right now because it'll probably change again next month and in the next 11 months. But basically, we either want to jump straight into working in the conservation, agriculture, something like that sector, or we're going to go to school to get more experience. Dan already has his degree in environmental science, so he's pretty much good to go for the workforce. I have my degree in linguistics, though I'm going to have that internship under my belt. We'll see. I'm a strong believer in that you don't necessarily need to go to school to get a job in the field you want. We'll see if it works out for me, but pretty much stay tuned. We also have a channel, the two of us, where we do hiking, and then we're probably going to be posting about those adventures once we're out of the military there. You can follow us at Emma and Dan. It is always linked in the description. So yeah, sorry Kelly, I don't have a solid answer for you. We change our minds literally every day. It's just too hard to decide, you know? We want to do everything. Okay, so the next question, Blanche asks, what are my thoughts on starting a family and sustainability? It is controversial. I mean, it definitely depends. Are you going to raise your children to be environmentally conscious? Are you going to overconsume when you have a child? I know that happens with a lot of people. They buy so much new clothes, so much new toys, so much new things that they need, all these gadgets and stuff for having a kid, and you don't really need all that stuff. You can also make having a baby sustainable, or at least more sustainable. Yeah, obviously they're gonna have to consume resources. Having another person on the planet does that. But I did make a full video on how to live zero waste with kids. I'll leave it linked above. But you know, things like shopping secondhand and really just implementing this stuff into your children from a young age is a really great thing to do. But obviously having a child is very resource intensive. So my thoughts personally, I don't think I'm going to have children myself with my body. It's also just not something I've ever really been interested in. I'm not just choosing to not have biological children because of climate change. I just don't really think it's for me. That's a whole different question. Basically, I'm kind of in the middle. Obviously, overpopulation is a thing, but so is overconsumption. And I've made a video about that as well. Obviously, the earth does have its limits when it comes to number of people, but I also think the earth has its limits with overconsumption. If we quit growing the population, but we kept overconsuming, it doesn't matter. There's no more people on the planet. We're still over-consuming resources. So long story short, I'm in the middle. Let me know your thoughts down below. Now we'll move on to the questions from YouTube. Just a chonky spider, I really like your username. Fun question. What are some of your favorite environmentally friendly DIYs? I'm sitting on it right now. This one. Maybe not this one. My other rainbow rug is much better. This was my first time ever crocheting in a circle, so it came out a little wonky, but my other rug that I have in my bedroom, my second time doing a rainbow crochet rug, it is so pretty. I'm so proud of it, and every time I look at them, I have 4 rugs that I've made myself. I'm like, I made rugs out of old t-shirts. I've saved, I don't know, probably close to 200 t-shirts from going to the landfill, and I made rugs. It's just so cool to think that I made that. And I've also made some really cool art out of wood that I found in the trash, and I used it for home decor. So those are my personal favorite. Pretty much anything that involves upcycling. Okay, Angie asked, a lot of people asked actually on the YouTube question page, what is my job in the military? But basically I am an analyst by trade, but right now I am the commander's executive assistant. Basically I'm a secretary and I love it. I don't necessarily like all the admin stuff, but I really needed a break from my job. I was so burnt out. The unit I worked for in Japan, if you were there with me, you know, it was not a good time. That place burnt me out. I never recovered from that burnout, so I kept doing my job here. The burnout kept going on. I'm like, I need a break. The opportunity arose, so I took it. And it's just gonna be a really happy ending to my military career, I think, and just really do a complete 180 from how it started. And they also ask, what inspired you to be an eco-friendly minimalist? Really, it was the military. Not the military inspired, but had I not joined the military, I don't think I would be here making content for you guys. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, and I'll leave my full zero waste story linked above as well. The short version, I grew up in Ohio, really small town. We had like recycling and that was it when it comes to sustainability. We didn't have air pollution, we didn't have physical pollution. I didn't see the impact that we were creating on the planet until, because of the military, I moved to Texas and then I moved to Japan, and all of these different regions that I've lived in, and now Las Vegas too, has really opened my eyes to all of these different climate change issues. What really was my turning point for me was seeing all the ocean trash in Okinawa and thinking, okay, cool, I'm recycling, but I'm not reducing. And so I'm still part of this problem. I'm still part of this beach trash problem and trash all over the world. So that was really what inspired me to quit consuming so much. Does anybody actually check to see if companies say that they use ocean plastic or post-consumer plastic? That's a really good question. I think there is some legality. You can't say that, like, a company can't say that they use post-consumer recycled paper, plastic, whatever, if it's not actually post-consumer. I think there's some legality to that, though I don't know. In the ocean trash, it all kind of is a little sketchy to me because I don't know how they can prove it, but I also feel like they aren't blatantly lying. So I don't really know. In your opinion, oh, this was just a chunky spider again. These are great questions. What do you believe is the biggest threat to the environment? Can I just broadly say humans? But I don't want to say all humans. I saw this great TikTok. I'll try to find it and like post it right here, or I'll leave the link down below. This person was basically like, these are the biggest threats that we need to defeat to solve climate change, and it was colonialism, the patriarchy, capitalism, and I forget the fourth one, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was white supremacy or racism, I guess, in general. So yeah, I think it is colonialism/capitalism is the biggest threat to the environment, and it has been since day one. Humans were living on the earth with very little impact until colonizers came to all these different countries, all these parts of the world, and then capitalism took off around 100 years ago. I mean, capitalism's been a thing for longer than that, but like the industrial boom from 100 years ago, and it was after the Great Depression, and everyone just had the desire to consume because they didn't have anything for 10 years. I don't want to say humans in general because a lot of humans are not the source of the problem. Are you done? Sorry about that. Let's see. Share a recipe of a dish you enjoy. I have a few recipes. I'll leave them linked below, but I guess my peanut butter is my favorite. I don't do recipes. I make stuff up, so sorry about that. What are some environmentally friendly pet swap / hacks from Maddie? Again, full video. I will leave it linked above and below, but in short, I love compostable poop bags for my dog, even though they end up in the landfill. I'm a strong believer in that creating bioplastics is a less harmful practice than creating oil-based plastics, petroleum-based plastics. And though they both end up in the landfill, this one, the bioplastic, still has a less environmental impact. I also have a video about that linked below. I also just switched to a wood-based cat litter. I weaned her onto it. It's still like a mix with her rock stuff because I didn't know how harmful it was to mine and like create the rocky-based cat litter. And then this wood-based one is made out of like post-consumer / unused parts of trees when they're like cut down for lumber and stuff. So it's not like virgin trees being cut down. And then I also make all of their toys out of old clothing and stuff. Which plant milk is the most eco-friendly and which do I most enjoy? By Ashley. Great question. The most environmentally friendly, I think. I'll throw up a chart real quick, but off the top of my head, oat is up there, flax is up there, and hemp. I think those are some of the most sustainable choices for plant milk. I love oat milk, but my current favorite is Ripple. It is a pea protein based milk. I love it for a few reasons. One, it comes in plastic, and if you're like, what the heck, why would you do that? Most milks come in Tetra Pak, and Tetra Pak is very hard to recycle. Plastic, though the recycling rates are low, at least it has a higher chance of being recycled, I think. I also really love it for its neutral flavor, and it's really thick. I don't like almond milk and flax milk because they're kind of watery, but this pea protein milk, and it doesn't taste like peas. It's so thick. I use it in cooking, baking, coffee, matcha. I use it in everything. For something like nutritional yeast, is it better to purchase in a plastic pouch or a plastic jar? For me, personally, when it comes to choosing between that stuff, I choose a plastic jar because a plastic jar is typically a plastic number 1 or 2, while a plastic pouch is probably a plastic number 4. I'm going to be making a video about this in June, talking about the 7 different types of plastic and probably which one you should choose based off of the 7. In short, it's very difficult to recycle plastics number 4, and you most likely can't put those in your curbside. You have to take them to a special drop-off location. While plastics number 1, very easy to recycle, probably the most popular type of plastic, and you can put them in your curbside. So if you have access to recycling for both, then that's up to you. But personally, I would choose a jar because I can't recycle plastics number 4 here. Moving on to the questions from Instagram. Thoughts about what happened to the NASA scientist? I don't really have very many thoughts on this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, a NASA scientist, I think this person was with NASA. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're talking about the one that lit themselves on fire in front of a government building. From my knowledge, they were Buddhist and they had been alluding to this for a long time. I'm very upset that it wasn't major news. I learned about it from TikTok days after it happened. No news outlets reported on it from my knowledge. I don't know. I can't see how governments can just sit back, watch, and let that happen and still not take climate action. So hopefully that's the right one that you were talking about, but those are my thoughts. Thoughts on the impact of condoms and what are the possible alternatives? If anyone's interested, maybe I can make a video about that. Low waist birth control. It depends what works for you, you know? If you don't want a hormonal birth control, condoms are a great option. If you don't want kids, condoms are a great option. I personally use the Paragard, the copper IUD, because it's non-hormonal. It's good for like 10 years and it's one of those like super effective types of contraceptive. While condoms are made out of plastic, very harmful to create, they obviously aren't recyclable. Please don't do that. It's disgusting. My friend Coco actually brought this up once, like forever ago, and it's just always stuck with me. The impact of condoms versus having a whole human is significantly less. Even though it's not a great option, if your goal is to not create another human and have all that waste that comes with having a baby, then condoms are a great option. Let me know your thoughts down below, and if you have any more questions about that. What is a quick dinner you recommend making on weeknight? I love this dinner idea. I got it inspired from my neighbor here in Vegas. She made it for me once, like just a little sample, and I'm like, that is so good. I make it all the time now. I don't know the name of it, but it is quinoa and couscous as a base, and then like black beans, pinto beans, corn, tomatoes, cilantro, green onions, anything that you would want like on a taco. It's like a taco bowl. The weird part, and I was very like, why would you do this at first? But I'll never go back. It's so good. Is buffalo ranch. And then I also add a little bit of salsa. And then it's like you can serve it as a party dish, but I eat it for dinner. And I just scoop it with chips, and it's so good and so easy. My favorite national park that I've been to, I've actually never been to Sequoia. I got this at Goodwill and I thought it was so cool. Anyway, Great Basin National Park in Nevada and Big Bend National Park in Texas. And if you're like, where are those? That's why I love them. Very few crowds, very little people. Great Basin is actually the least visited national park in the country, probably because it's also in the middle of Nevada and you have to drive like 5-6 hours from any major city to get to it. Great Basin is one of the national dark sky spaces. They've got glacial lakes. You can see the Milky Way. So many great things about it. Absolutely stunning. It was also our first backpacking trip, so it's like extra special to me. And then Big Bend is on the border of Texas and Mexico. You get to see the Rio Grande. Also very little people. The best stars I have ever seen in my life. And it also has Texas's second highest mountain, which is why I went. But I guess a close third, even though it is probably the most popular park in the country, is Zion. Actually, the Grand Canyon might be, or Yosemite or Yellowstone. Zion's up there, top 5. Anyway, so crowded, but so beautiful. What is something you are looking forward to in the next year? Getting out of the military. It's so close, I can taste it. What is your first zero waste things? This bad boy right here. My same water bottle I've had since day 1. Love her. My bamboo cutlery was also up there, though that is now one of these zero waste swaps I kind of regret. If you'd like me to make a video about that topic, love to do that too. What else? Actually a menstrual cup. I tried that like in high school before I was even zero waste because I wanted to save money. I think that's it. That's good enough. We'll go with those 3. Do you ever get tired of being zero waste? I don't think so. I'm to a point where nothing is weird now. I'm used to it and I save a lot of money. Honestly, like stuff like using the natural light during the day. I have my AC shut off during the day in the spring. I recycle water. I upcycle things. Like I made this rug completely for free, and rugs are expensive. So I think all those things combined, I love living low waste. And really it's just frugal living, honestly. But I guess while we're on the topic, and while this video is already super long, I do get tired of being eco-conscious, and what I mean is, this was at the end of one of David Attenborough's documentaries, and that, I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember his exact words, but something like, he really was like, ignorance is bliss, and being aware of all this stuff around the climate crisis is very taxing. And it's so true. When I did my 30-day Earth Month trash cleanup, I don't know when that's being posted. It's either already posted or I'm posting it next Sunday. Like, I wish I could just forget about all this trash. I wish I didn't see all this litter and just be able to ignore it. And going to the Hoover Dam, like, I wish I didn't know that we were about to be out of water in like probably less than 5 years here in the desert Southwest, because ignorance truly is bliss, and it can get me really anxious about climate change just knowing about this stuff. And then the last question, this is probably going to go in that same video that Jessica asks about. Is it more sustainable to buy a sustainable product online versus a less sustainable product in person? This one's very similar. Is it more sustainable to purchase a lot of small glass or one big piece of plastic? Personally, this is probably an unpopular opinion. I would go with the bigger piece of plastic, because while glass is infinitely recyclable, glass is also breakable. And if the glass breaks before it gets to the recycling center, they might not use it because then it's dangerous. Glass is also very heavy. So when it comes to shipping, plastic is considerably lighter, meaning it uses less fuel. As well as, glass is just as resource intensive to make. It is also very harmful practice to make glass from new. I don't think glass is the most sustainable product, and if it's recyclable plastic too, I will go with the plastic personally. But let me know your thoughts down below. That is all that I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. I know these Q&As can get really long, but I hope that you enjoy them, and if you do, again, just let me know that you want to see these more often, and I'll make them for you guys. And thank you so much for everyone who asked questions. You're the ones who make this video popular, make this video possible, and thank you all so much for following along. It's so fun to have this community and have you guys here with me along my zero waste journey. So if you're new here, this is the first video YouTube suggested for you. That is weird, but I talk about all sorts of things zero waste, focusing on free, easy, and fun ways to live low waste and practical ways to be an activist. If any of that interests you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down there. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I hope that you enjoy all these extra videos this month. Just thought, wow, let's make 7 videos in May. I don't know why, a little crazy, but thank you for watching. Thank you so much for your support. And until next time, remember that your small actions have a big impact in the long run. Bye guys. Is it better to, you know, purchase a sustainable product? Yeah. And like the ones that I use, oh my gosh, I don't know. That's it. Yeah, you gotta move on. This is gonna be a long video. Sorry. And yeah.